Wow, I am absolutely losing my marbles. This went under the radar. Lego, you should have made a video about the trade. Where's the video about the trade? Goodbye, Robby Fabbri. Lego, where's the video? I know, man, I know. It's kind of, it's kind of weird when Steve Yzerman decides to do everything within the span of like 10 minutes, signing Tarasenko and making this trade. Let's go out there and read this press release on the Anaheim Ducks website, because the Ducks have acquired Robby Fabbri and a conditional 2025 fourth-round pick in exchange for goaltender Gage Alexander. That's it, eh? I mean, it's not that big of a deal, right? It's a pretty minor trade, but when you consider the pieces involved, this trade does have the potential to be a little bit more important than a regular old minor trade. So, goodbye Robby Fabbri, hello Gage Alexander from the POV of the Red Wings. The Anaheim Ducks have acquired left wing center Robby Fabbri and a conditional 2025 fourth in exchange for Gage Alexander from the Detroit Red Wings. Anaheim will receive either the earlier of Detroit's own fourth-round pick in 2025 or Boston's fourth-round pick in 2025, previously acquired by Detroit March 2nd, 2023. Was that the Tyler Bertuzzi trade? I don't know. It's been a year since then. Fabbri, 28 years old, 122.96. Oh, right, we're back here with the Anaheim Ducks putting the weird and wacky numbers in their articles here. Fabbri, 28, born on January 22nd, 1996, tied a career high with 18 goals in 2023-2024 with Detroit, registering 32 points in 68 games played. He helped St. Louis to a Stanley Cup championship in 2019, appearing in 10 postseason contests while earning 1 goal. The 6'1", 185-pound forward had scored 98 goals and 102 assists for 200 points in 398 career NHL games with Detroit. Look at this, 98, 102, 200. Put this as either another dash or make this as a plus sign. Don't have it read out 98 minus 102, because that doesn't make any sense. It's just difficult to look at first glance. But he played in Detroit from 2019 to 2024 and St. Louis from 2015 to 2019. He has also appeared in 30 career playoff games, scoring 16 points. Robby is a grit and sandpaper type player that plays with energy and fits with what we are trying to do, Ducks GM Pat Verbeek said. He also possesses a nice combination of skill and scoring ability that we need. Selected by St. Louis in the first round, 21st overall, the 2014 draft, Robby Fabbri led the Blues to a Western Conference final in 2016 and became the youngest player in Blues history at 20 years old and 110 days to score a goal in a Game 7 May 11, 2016 versus Dallas. Fabbri scored 18 goals and 19 assists for 37 points as a rookie in 2015-16, tallying a career high in points, assists, and games. It's kind of crazy how his rookie season was his career high in points and assists. The Mississauga, Ontario native helped Canada to a gold medal at the 2015 World Juniors, scoring 6 points in 5 tournament games, and he also earned gold with Canada at the 2014 Ivan Hlinka Memorial. Fabbri was named the OHL Playoffs MVP in 2014, scoring 28 points in 16 postseason games. He also won the OHL Championship in 2011-12 and 2013-14, scoring 171 points in 147 career regular season OHL games. He had scored 33 points in 30 OHL playoff games. Now, Gage Alexander, they go over the goaltender here. It'll be a lot easier for us to look at Gage Alexander in the elite prospects, but just taking a look at Robby Fabbri, this is a piece whom you could say his time in Detroit was already kind of on the rocks because of the acquisition of Vladimir Tarasenko. Now, I don't actually think the Tarasenko thing came first. I think this trade happened and then Tarasenko got signed, right? I don't know. Let's see if we can look at that. Was it? No. Okay, so the Tarasenko signing was at 2:01 p.m., but the trade and everything that was announced with it was at 2:30. So, okay. For a very brief period of time, Robby Fabbri and Vladimir Tarasenko were reunited from that 2019 St. Louis Blues team onto the 2024 Red Wings, but shortly after Tarasenko got signed, it's Robby Fabbri who's going out. Which makes sense. I mean, Tarasenko, winger, you're freeing up a roster spot for him by trading Fabbri away. And I think pedigree-wise, it's easy to understand why they would prefer a guy like Tarasenko instead of Fabbri, who has had a pretty rough go in the NHL the past few years, dealing with injuries, dealing with inconsistency issues, but at his best, when he does play, he does do some pretty alright things. The 18 goals does stand out in this most previous season. 32 points in 68 games played. His production was honestly solid. And if Robby Fabbri is able to get more of a role with the Anaheim Ducks, Pat Verbeek said it that Fabbri is a small but gritty sandpaper type guy. That's the kind of mold that they're looking for out of their players. They don't really like the skill guys. They don't like the Trevor Zegrases. They're trying to trade him away. Mason McTavish, Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlsson, these guys can all play with grit. They can all play in board battles. They can all do things in their own zone too. That's the kind of mold that Pat Verbeek likes, especially since that's the kind of player that Pat Verbeek was when he was in the NHL. So acquiring another one of these guys who also has a pretty good goal-scoring output too, it's pretty good for the Anaheim Ducks. You can totally understand why they went out there and did this, just taking a look at the roster they have assembled. I mean, there are a lot of tough dudes on this squad, and Robby Fabbri adds an element of that particular aspect to this team as well. Now let's go over to the guy that the Red Wings are getting in return. It was Robby Fabbri and an extra pick for Gage Alexander. So it's interesting because if you think about it like that, the Red Wings actually paid a little bit extra to get this guy onto their team. The Red Wings must really like Gage Alexander then, considering the fact that he is 22 years old from Okotoks and 6'6", 205, initially a 5th-round pick by the Anaheim Ducks in the 2021 NHL Entry Draft. Gage Alexander played in the ECHL this previous season and didn't really do all too well. .887 save percentage, .376 goals against, and 19 games played. Last year, he had split the year between the WHL Swift Current Broncos, the AHL San Diego Gulls, and the Tulsa Oilers in the ECHL, where he had a consistent sub-900 save percentage in all three leagues. .898 in the Dub, .887 in the A, and .875 in the ECHL. Man, this guy really doesn't have great numbers. I know numbers aren't everything, but still, he did have his best days when he was a draft-eligible prospect with the Winnipeg Ice 2020-2021 season, a .917 save percentage. That's the year when he got drafted, so I guess the Anaheim Ducks just saw that and were like, yeah, that's a great player, let's take him. The years after, though, he has slowly declined. Of course, though, you would rather see the guy progress forward and do things than not, but this is a very interesting Red Wings pick that I don't want to say this guy has like the Sebastian Cossa, Trey Augustine challenging potential like we want to see goalies have, but very interesting return on the price here. You know, if you think of the trade instead, think of it like Robby Fabbri and a 4th for Gage Alexander and Tarasenko, it becomes a lot better, but just isolated like this, you can't help but say that the Anaheim Ducks got the most value out of this trade. Of course, Robby Fabbri wouldn't really have much of a role with Detroit with the addition of Tarasenko. He'd be moved down to lineup one spot, so it makes sense why they'd trade him away. But to get this guy only in exchange, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about the Detroit Red Wings trading away Fabbri to the Anaheim Ducks for one Gage Alexander. What are your thoughts on the trade? What are your thoughts on how Fabbri is going to play in Anaheim? And what are your thoughts on the situation as a whole? Is Tarasenko in, Fabbri out, the proper way to go about things? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.